about tonight, Sheldon?
Yes.
How significant are these two games for him in terms of getting ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, very significant. He needs to get the game reps, both to get himself up to speed and then just gain the confidence that he's ready to go.
What's the update on Michael Bunting, Sheldon?
He's obviously skated today, so it's a very positive sign. He's not going to play this week, and then we'll reevaluate him from there, but things are looking positive.
How are things looking for Rasmus and Andre maybe to play on Friday?
Rasmus is a lot closer. I think we'll see Rasmus. He's got some appointments today to get through, and if that goes well, I think you'll see him join our team for practice, and then we'll take it from there. He hasn't had a full team practice yet. He's joined a couple of these morning skates and such, but we haven't practiced for quite a while now, so we'll look to get him in practice and then take it from there for him, and then Kasha just continues to be day-to-day. Today is an important step for him, just being on the ice with a full team and that many players moving around and the puck flying around and stuff. So he's been skating a lot on his own, so that's a good step for him. But yeah, there's no timeline on him, or we're not working towards any sort of target date or anything like that right now.
We saw Peter Mrazek skating again today, or practicing again today. You would hope that if he had a long run in the playoffs, he'd be back at some point?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he skated, this is day 4 or 5 or something like that for him now. He's been at it for a good bit. I know he started before we went out on the road, so today is not new in that sense. So he's working his way back, and I don't have much of an update in terms of where he's at, in terms of full health or anything like that, but he's progressing well.
What have you seen from Moritz Seider in the games that you guys have played against the young defenseman who looks like the Calder favorite? What have you seen? It's so difficult at his age to get those types of matchups every night.
Yeah, a very complete player. Obviously, he's got great skill, size, competitiveness. He's got a lot of those things. So that when you have some players come in, they have one or two things that that really carry them, but then they have a couple things that need a lot of work, and that's why it takes some time. You have to protect them, and he seems to to be a very well-rounded, very mature guy for his age, and that's why he's able to take on so much, because there's not a lot missing from his game.
An appreciation for how competitive the East has become. 8 teams now hitting 100 points, and then we've got the Detroits and the Buffaloes, Ottawa, those young players who are coming on, knocking on the door in maybe a year or two from now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's, we felt it the other night. We played against Washington. They're, coming in. I guess you could call them like the 8th seed or whatever going in here at this point. I know there might maybe still be some movement there possibly, but you're playing against them, and this is a 100-point team. That you're playing against there. And then you look at the roster and the players that they have, and then as you mentioned, there's the young teams. Just looking at our division, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, Montreal also. There's some really good young players coming here in competitive games. Even this Detroit team we're playing tonight. I mean, we're looking at it. 2 of their last 3 wins are on the road in Carolina and Tampa. So they they're still hungry, still playing hard. You're not ready, they can make you look bad. Like it's a very competitive conference for sure this season. It's we look at the number of points that teams have, and there's definitely a separation, but inside the games, they're still competitive.
An argument that playoffs should be expanded. I don't know if you've commented on that or not.
Yeah, I have, and like I said, my comment before was just that I got enough to think about, but I think that you play the season, and there has to be something to be said for this season. I think the fact that there is such a separation this year like this, I don't think you maybe want to expand on it, but it's also just 1 year. I think these things have a tendency to recorrect themselves.
Sheldon, guys have had bounced back from last year and had career years, whether it be, Riley's approaching some records, Marner, Matthews, we can go down the list, but team-wise, there's been records too. Your players have shown improvement. What about yourself? What's the difference in Sheldon Keefe, the coach, from the end of Game 7 against Montreal last year to Game 1 this year?
Well, I think with every experience you get better. I think I know my team and my players that much better. Going through every experience that you go through allows you to change course, alter course, but also push buttons and push in certain ways. And players understand why you're doing it because of what you've been through and know what you're focused on. So I think those are the biggest things. Coaching staff has changed also. Coming in here and all the coaches that I've worked with since I've been here have been great in their own ways. This season here, we've looked at it and we really, with Dave Haxtell moving on to Seattle, there was an opportunity here now to go out and really, go through a process here to really select my coaching staff, and the additions of Spencer Carberry and the work he's done with our power play, and Dean on the penalty kill and the defense, and Manny in the role that he's played. I think our staff is very efficient, and really like how we've come together and how each person and their responsibilities has executed. So all of those things, just have me as a coach, feeling that much more prepared.
You imagine
Staying in
what
the present, though, is something that you guys have talked about since training camp. Yourself, your players, a lot of talk about living in the moment. Was that something after, especially how last playoffs ended, that you guys focus on as something that needs to be better on staying in the moment? And how have you tried to go about that to not get too hard on yourselves in a market like this?
Yeah, we just focus on the day-to-day, control what we can control, knowing that you know that you need to be a team that finds a way to push through in the playoffs, but you can't play the playoffs until the playoffs arrive, even tonight. It's an 82-game season. This is game 81. So we got to stay right here because we do have an opportunity here on home ice to ensure that we start the playoffs here in this building. So let's be focused on taking care of that. We're right here today, knowing that everything that we do is to prepare us for the playoffs. But if you don't take care of every day that you have and every opportunity you have as a team and as a player or as a coach, you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to be prepared when it counts the most. So we still got time here, and we've got to maximize it.
the individual achievements within the team achievement of career performance and all that, how much do they matter going into the playoffs?
Well, the actual achievements themselves, like the milestones or whatever, I don't think it. The playoffs are going to start. Everybody's going to go back to zero. So from that end of it, I don't think it necessarily, has a whole lot of emphasis or I don't think it matters a great deal. The big thing I would say, though, is that you want your players feeling good and feeling confident and all of that. And to that end, our players have had almost to a man. We've had guys having career years here offensively and defensively, whatever it might be. So from that end, from that part of it, I think we're feeling good, and our guys have lots of reasons to be positive going into the playoffs. So, and it's interesting that as the goalpost moves, right? Different guys have already set career highs, yet now we're setting new milestones for them, and let's push even further. We've had a terrific season here to date. Let's finish it as strong as we can, but it's all going to go back to zero here next week, and we'll have to do it all over again when it's most difficult.
It's Bear Roots. Is coaching in the playoffs any different? Take the fans out of it, take the skill level out of it, but is coaching in the playoffs any different whether you're coaching Pembroke, Sault Ste. Marie, or the Toronto Maple Leafs, or the Toronto Marlies?
Well, first you say take the fans out of it, which is interesting because I've never coached a playoff game with fans in the building. Say I'm talking about the NHL. Save for we had some that night in Montreal, I guess a few thousand or whatever it was, but the competition is that much harder, of course, at this level. But the emotions and the swings in a series and all those things, the preparation, there's a lot of similarities.
Like Kevin said, asking about milestones, not specific with milestones with Austin, but he's got 5 games separated by the 3-game absence with the injuries without scoring, which is his longest kind of run of that this season. Would there be significance to see him put 1 or 2 in the net in these last couple games? Feel good in that way?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a guy that's used to scoring, and feels good when he's scoring. I looked back on the Florida game, his first game back, and look at some of those chances that he had, and that's what I look at. I don't know how many shots he's put on the net since he's come back here, but it seems significant. So it's a matter of time. So I imagine he'll be going tonight, and we'll hope that one falls for him. But as long as his legs are moving and he's working on both sides of the puck and he's generating chances, I think that's all that he's looking for. And he has enough confidence in himself that, goals will come, as we've seen.
Can you even imagine the old days where the coach was just the only person behind the bench? There was no assistants?
No. I mean, you wouldn't be able to give the players what they demand at this stage, and they're so used to having so much information and having so many things covered that you wouldn't be able to keep up with it.
2+ years.
Does Jack go for the final 2? Sheldon to get through tonight and decide?
We'll get through tonight and see and have a conversation with Jack based on how he's feeling. Make a determination from there. We think there is enough gap between the two that it's a possibility. It's not something I'm against. All I'm focused on is making sure Jack is feeling really good going into game 1, and if he feels a little more action, not having such a long layoff is something that he would like, then we'll look at that. But if he feels set and good to go, then we'll give Eric the final game. But we'll get through tonight and see how it goes.